So my name is Chris Henry. I suffered for quite a long time as a chartered accountant, but it got worse than that. I was a chartered accountant who worked for a bank, so dinner parties, nobody ever used to want to talk to me. And having spent 24 years in banking, I stepped out of banking. There's a story behind it, but I stepped out of banking to set up my own business as a business coach. So there's another business coach in the room, Andrew, myself, part of the same franchise, which is Action Coach. So having bored people with chartered accountancy and with banking, I'm now boring them with wealth builders, because I class myself as a part of the wealth builder team, and I'm really passionate about it, which is why this is not my natural flow, but if I feel strongly about something, I'm going to tell people about it. So this is our story. So I'm just going to write a number down here, and I just want you to tell me, this is except Andrew, because Andrew may know this. What does that number represent to people?
How many weeks you live.
Correct. Right, okay. So 4,000 weeks in a lifetime. It's not a lot, is it really? 4,000 weeks. I can see you're looking around thinking, how many have I got left? I haven't got 4,000 left. But the relevance of that is my why. 10 years ago, I played a lot of football over the years, five-a-side, football injury. Myself and Tracy, my wife, flew to Madeira. I didn't feel particularly well. What had happened was I got a cut on my shin that had become infected. And I ended up with a DVT from a flight, what's called a pulmonary embolism. It's quite hard to say that. This is me outside the hospital in Funchal, Madeira, which is where we were going on holiday. There's normally a trauma or a turning point in people's lives. I mean, how many people are looking at changing their lives now because of trauma or something significant in their lives? Yeah, there's normally an event in your life that changes your outlook on the rest of your life. So this is me in hospital. I was there for 2 weeks. Didn't see much of Funchal, but it gave me time to reflect, and I was very, very close to dying. And when you're getting texts from your kids, Ben and Alex at the time were 12 and 10, saying, "Dad, we want to come and see you. Dad, come through." Very emotional texts, and that really refocused my perspective on the rest of my life. So I was enjoying life in banking, but I thought, this is not what I want forever. I want to change it. So that was a big trigger for me, and there is another trigger in my life that is important in terms of how I see the rest of my life. So that's me in Madeira. That explains the pyjamas. I did have another photograph with me with an oxygen mask on it, but I thought that was a bit too graphic. So two other aspects to my why. One is particularly important to me, which is my daughter. This is my daughter Alex. It's quite a few years ago this. She was probably about 8 or 9 there. Alex is 21 now, but she was born with cystic fibrosis. Again, that's something, it's a difficult disease. A lot of other people know about cystic fibrosis. It's a difficult disease. If you just think about your breathing, just get conscious about your breathing now. It's a very natural thing, is breathing, isn't it? Like, when you've got CF, every breath is an effort. And that's the difficulty that children or people with CF face. So it's a difficult disease. The average life expectancy is half of the 4,000 weeks. It's about 40 years. That's the average life expectancy. So Alex is obviously a big part of my life. She's my daughter. And again, what I found was in banking, I was spending a lot of time exchanging time for money. What about the kids? Particularly with Alex on board, I want to make the most of the 40 years I've got with her. So I was looking for another opportunity. So a combination of Madeira and Alex is really what has forced me to a situation where I might just consider something different. So business coaching is great. It's a big time consumer, but wealth builders is much more passive. And for me, that's a much more interesting, and it's a much more exciting opportunity because it gives me the potential to have time with Alex. The final thing is, I always remember that my dad, we were a Catholic family, 4 children in the family. My dad died 2 years ago. When we were sorting his estate out, his last pay slip was £13,000 a year. He was a catering manager. He died probably 15 years after he retired, but he got no retirement. He had emphysema, he was a smoker. I couldn't believe how small his salary was, and he kind of maintained a family of 6 on a salary of 13,000. So again, that's another thing. It's not all about money, but it's something that's resonated with me. And I'm stood here thinking, my dad would be so proud to see me stood here talking about him. So there's 3 elements to my why, but there's normally an emotion. We were talking about this week, I think, about the emotion. Sometimes there's a negative emotion or a difficult emotion. Sometimes it's a positive thing. Now for me, with Alex, it's a positive thing. I want to create a great life for her, and I'll finish off with where she's at now. So that's my why. Really important to find out what your why is. And I think you'll know it's your why if there's an emotion attached to it. One of the first things Kevin asked me, which is easy for an accountant, is what's your number? What's your target asset income? And I'd already put, in true accountancy fashion, an investment plan together. And I knew at the start, a good number for us in terms of financial freedom was £7,500 a month. Now, that's probably changed now because even though we're fairly new into this, if we are fairly new into it, I can see that number being hit fairly quickly down to what we're doing. But everybody should know the number, we touched on that earlier, I think. Mine's 7.5. I'm looking at something different to that now, probably double, is what I think is realistic to achieve. What has Wealth Builders given me? Well, I think it's given me something that is an eye-opener. As an accountant, chartered accountant for a bank, I can't believe how little I knew about wealth. One of my passions I was talking to Kevin about this morning is we talked about our education system. My kids and most kids do not understand money. My kids are 23 and 21, they're only just starting to learn about mortgages and savings. And for me, it's a crying shame that they're not learning the basics. So some of my kind of focus moving forward, I think, may well be coaching children wealth. Something in that I think that's important to me. Kevin touched on it earlier. But so wealth management is something I've learned. I've got loads to learn. I'm not an expert at it, but I've learned a lot from Kevin and from Guy and from Lars. I'll touch on Lars later. I've learned about property. I'm not an expert on property. I don't particularly think I want to be an expert on property, but I know about the basic strategies. We've chosen HMOs through the people we've connected with, but I know a lot more about property than I did kind of 12 months ago. PPN's a feature in our kind of networking pin, as well as the Wealth Builder events. And I understand a lot more about SaaS. I didn't know anything about SaaSes. Kevin's been through the principles, so I'm not going to go through that, but we have a SaaS, which I transferred my final salary pension into. Property sourcing, we're starting to get into a little bit of that, but understanding you can help us source properties is another part of the Wealth Builder network. And networking, this is fantastic, networking with people here and with the networking forums. I really enjoy it. So education is what Wealth Builders brought us a lot of. And the support for me has been, I don't know, it's just been amazing. The support's been amazing. I'm quite demanding, so I'm one of these that let's put a project plan together and let's review it every week. So Lars probably hates me because virtually every Friday we have a review meeting with him to see where we're at with various things that we're doing. Lars, I've spent a lot of time with. He's a mentor to me on the SaaSes, what you can and can't do. He spent a lot of time with him, but my knowledge up there. What I am going to do, and what I've said we're going to do, is document the learnings from my conversation with Lars. So we kind of started to head in the direction of an operating manual. There's no point, me learning and then you want to go through the same process. So I will try and capture. I've got good notes, being a detail man, of the conversations I've had with Lars around SaaS, what you can and do. But the pension transfer only happened. It took a while to get out of Lloyds Bank on the 14th of August 2015. So it's not that long ago. I can't believe what we've achieved since then. What I haven't told Kevin is that I actually sent a form off to Lloyds to say I want to draw the pension. I don't think I've told you that before, but the form was actually, it had gone in the post. I had to ring them up to say, hang on, Tracy and myself, I thought about this again, we don't want to draw the pension. So, I mean, you'd have been cross with me, but that's the reality. So we were kind of not quite sure whether to go for this or not. Part of the reason for that was Tracy, my wife, had a final salary pension, I had a decent sized pension. We were kind of trying to play it safe, but absolutely would have been the wrong decision in what we could achieve now. So the transfer came out on the 14th of August. The SaaS was set up by Lars and the team. And since then it's been very much coaching me as a trustee. Myself and Tracy are trustees of the SaaS. Tracy slightly, at the start, was much more risk averse than me. She would have drawn the pension. She now is a massive fan of SaaS and what we're doing. And education, I think, has taken on that journey from in terms of a risk profile. Massive help from Wealth Builders in terms of sourcing funding deals. So again, within the Wealth Builder community, we're already kind of doing business with people that are part of the community. So what's happened is very few of the deals we've done have been deals that we've gone out and looked for. People have come to us either through Lars or through Ken or through Guy or through Lex. So that's been fantastic. The opportunity to lend to people has been presented to us. And the guidance through the process, the legal documentation, the kind of heads of terms is all part of the intellectual property that Wealth Builder has supplied to us. So we should be for the one you can craft it. Joint venture contacts, we talked a lot about Chris Payton. Are we still more Chris Paytons? Maybe there are. I certainly haven't found them yet, but Chris Payton, I'll give you his number if you want to connect something up with him. He's going to have a queue at his door.
Let's do that through me if you don't
Oh, sorry, apologies.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to mess him up.
Yeah, apologies.
So
Right,
don't
okay.
do that, please.
So, right, okay, apologies. Right, okay, so, really systemised guy. I mean, I love systems. I've never seen anybody as systemised in terms of an approach to anything, really, down to the fact that, I mean, there's a Gantt chart on the wall of every property. I don't know, do you see it? Yeah. So that's how precise he is. Massive in terms of kind of saving space, taking chimneys out, it's incredible. But what he does is high quality. So he caters for students and for professionals, but it's high quality stuff. So he really does gut it from the inside out and rebuilds it from the inside out. His philosophy is you might as well do it properly from the start, otherwise you're going to kind of cause yourself problems further down the line. So yeah, the refurb costs are probably quite heavy, but it's a quality job at the end of it. The other help for us has been the partners, the accountants, the mortgage brokers, the legal team. They're all known to Wealth Builders, so we're just dealing with the people that they have contacts with, so that's really useful for us. So great support and massively appreciate that. So what have we done? So most of our early journey, having transferred the funds out, has been bridge funding. So again, people wanting to develop property, we just let them the funds that they need. Again, all within the Wealth Building community, so it's been a fairly safe kind of environment in terms of some of the deals we've done. And so I think we've done 10 so far. Some have come back in and are ready to kind of go back out again. The average loan, I think the smallest we did was 50. The largest we've done is probably 150. So that's the range of deals that we've done. The average rate, we've done a couple at 10%, but most are at 12%. So that's the return we're getting back. 12, yeah. That's the return we're getting back on our funds. All secured. Our policy is down to us as trustees to decide, myself, Lars and Tracy, we decide on the lend on anything other than first charge. So all the funds that's gone out has been secured first charge. What else was I going to say about the lending?
Average length of...
Average length, so the shortest we've done is 6 months, the longest we've done is 18 months. Yeah. I think that there's a reason for that. We were presented with an opportunity to lend for 2 years, but we didn't want to tie the money up because we knew we wanted to ultimately invest in our own property. So our strategy was, let's just test the water. It's a whole new territory with this. Let's start with bridge funding. It's relatively straightforward. Let's learn that, and then let's step into something a bit more involved further down the line.
And is it all for property development deals, or for HMOs, nothing to do with HMOs?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, there are HMOs. It's general HMOs actually that we're lending to.
But by getting a first charge, that means that the property person doesn't have a mortgage, so you're not or you're a second charge behind the mortgage.
No, we're a first charge on the property.
So you're providing all the funding.
Pretty much, that's right. Yeah. So it's as easy as that. I mean, so that's where we started. We've just bought our first HMO, so that's in the process of being refurbed. That's in Heaton in Newcastle. Chris Payton's sourced it for us. These are the numbers. So it's a 6-bedroom HMO. It costs us 156 to buy it, about 60 to refurbish it. So it's a high-spec refurb. Chris reckons, and he knows the area. The valuation when we're finished will be between 250 and 280. And after refinancing that, which we will do, there's a monthly profit of just over £1,000 a month. So that's the start of our property. That's the income. Okay. And we love it. I mean, just the fact that you see, Tracy keeps wanting, she wants to come every week, she's so excited about the fact we've got this property, but the photographs are an important part of just keeping us in the loop. We've developed quite a good relationship with Chris now, and it's almost a social thing as well as a business meeting we go and see.
Did you specify what refurb was needed?
No, what we decided is that we set off with the intention of learning how to do HMOs. I'm 55 in July, 12th, can't wait. We decided, and our strategy changed actually, because we were going to learn it and try and do it ourselves, but we decided we'd let the experts do it. It wouldn't take us too long to learn the level of skill that somebody like Chris Payton's got. So we changed our tack. So it's an end-to-end process. So what's happening is we're working with the likes of Chris. He's finding the property, he's refurbishing it to whatever spec he deems appropriate, and then he's going to let it, and we just draw the income at the end of the at the end of the month. So end to end, and that's our strategy.
Is it a joint venture with him?
No, it's not. No,
Oh.
it's not. It's ours.
You manage it.
He's doing it for a fee?
He's doing it for a fee, which is weaved in. Well, there's a fee. I suspect there's some margin weaved into the refurbishment costs, but also he will take a percentage of the rental that comes off the back end of it.
He
And
manages
remember
the-
that this is Chris's strategy, it's not the same strategy for everybody.
No, sure, it's just
Yeah.
the one that he's chosen, so, yeah.
So that's the first one. What we've done, we've put an order in for, our plan is 2 HMOs a year for the next 5 years. Which is, as you can see, that's how you can get to go a monthly income of 7.5. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. So one more this year is the plan. This is Tracy and Chris looking at the plans. I'll bother with the kind of plans. I'll understand the layout, but end to end, that's the process. That's the investment Chris's office. So results so far. So I reckon we've got a. I can't see all this income because all this income is going into the SAS. So the interest that's coming back on the bridge funding goes straight back into the SAS. So you can't get hands on that until 55, which is time. So there's about £3,000 worth of interest income dropping into the SAS on a monthly basis, on average. Obviously, it doesn't drop in monthly because it comes back at the end of the loan, generally. And there's £1,000 worth of income coming back off the HMO from the start of July. So we're already at £4,000 a month, I reckon, of passive income coming in. And that's only for really pretty much half a year, because the loans didn't all the money wasn't out for the full extent of 2016. We've just started. I was just on the camera about it just to make sure we're okay doing this, but I thought I'll better check. What I want to do is, I'm talking to people about what we're doing, and they're starting to get interested in it. And if you're passionate about it and people believe it, I think they will start to take an interest. So I've got a colleague, an ex-colleague of mine from Lloyds, who wants to invest some cash that he's got. So what he's doing at the moment, just going through the signature of the documentation, he's put